Welcome to the latest episode of the Real World Nutrition Podcast. This is episode 153, Conquering the Cereal Aisle, Making Smart Choices for a Healthy Breakfast. Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Real World Nutrition Podcast. I am your host, Shelley Rael, registered dietitian nutritionist, and in today's episode, I'm diving into part 4 of the series of Mastering the Grocery Store. In this episode, I am going to address many aspects of the cereal aisle. This is a section of the grocery store that can often feel overwhelming. It is massive. Because of the endless rows of colorful boxes, I had no idea how many types of cereal they had out in the market anymore, and so many marketing buzzwords and nutrition claims. There is just so much to cover, but I'm going to cover it in less than 30 minutes today. So let's talk about this. If you've ever felt confused about trying to make a healthy choice for breakfast, you are not alone. So I'm going to break down step by step how you can confidently conquer this cereal aisle. So let me start with this first part, how to read cereal labels and identify truly healthy choices. So this first step in mastering the cereal aisle is understanding how to read labels. Now, I'm not going to go line by line on all the aspects of the labels, but what I want you to do is if you're in the cereal aisle, or make note, turn the box around, usually I would say on its side, and take a look at the nutrition facts panel. And start by checking the serving size. So all the nutrition information on the box is based on that amount, that serving size. And the serving size will vary by different cereals. So let me explain this a little bit more. In general, a serving of cereal is 1 ounce or 28 grams. That's not saying that's what you should eat. You don't have to limit yourself to that much. You don't have to eat that much. But part of the reason I mention this is 1 ounce of cereal can be anywhere from a half a cup to a really dense cereal, thinking like grape nuts or a granola, to 1 1/4 cup or maybe even 1 1/2 cup if we're talking about something like puffed rice, like Rice Krispies. So the volume will be different, but that 1 ounce is usually what that serving size is. So again, the nutrition information there is based on that serving size, and we can't have it is not the same, I should say, across the board. So next, I recommend looking at the calories per serving. And again, that's not saying that you have to limit how much you're having or change how much you're having. Just acknowledge that if you eat 1 cup of cereal, you may need to adjust things if you're looking at the calories. And you want to see if this fits into your dietary needs. You may love the idea of granola, but then you realize it's 240 calories for 3/4 cup. That may or may not fit into your dietary need. Another thing to look at is the total sugars as well as the added sugars. So total sugars would be, especially since these are mostly grains, that would be naturally occurring sugars as well as added sugars when you're looking at total sugars. So I recommend that people aim for cereals with less than 10 grams of sugar per serving. And then within that, underneath that on the nutrition facts panel, look for the added sugars, which is in a lot of cereals. Even the cereals that seem healthy, there's going to be some added sugars in most cases. So watch for that. It's not going to be the full 10 grams of added sugars, but I recommend it be 6 grams or less. 6 grams is still somewhat high, but becomes more challenging to find. And then also within that same segment of the nutrition facts panel, look at the fiber content. So a good rule of thumb is to look for cereals that have at least 3 to 5 grams of fiber per serving, especially because fiber will help you stay full along with its benefits to our overall digestion and heart health. Now, another key point I want to emphasize here is to choose cereals that list whole grains as their first ingredient. Whole grains provide essential nutrients and really can help with stabilizing our blood sugar levels. You also want to check for the protein content. Cereals that have at least 3 grams of protein per serving can also help with keeping you feel full longer. Now, lastly, in this section here, take a look at the ingredients list. Often a shorter list will mean it uses less processed ingredients, but even with a longer list, pay attention to what's included because a lot of those ingredients may be added nutrients, added vitamins, added minerals, added things to help our overall health. So that isn't always a bad thing. So let me go into a little bit more about that sugar content. Sugar is often a major concern when choosing cereals, especially those marketed to kids. Now, I want to emphasize this. Even though they may be marketed to kids as a full-grown adult by your date of birth, you may still be loving these types of cereals. And many cereals contain added sugars. And some of the reasons we pay attention to this is that empty calories that can contribute to weight gain. It can contribute to tooth decay, good old cavities, and other potential health issues. We really want to minimize added sugars in our overall diet, and looking at how much added sugars are in our cereals is a good thing to pay attention to. Now, I want to also emphasize this. Words like natural or honey in the name can make it seem like cereals are healthier than they really are, but that's not always the case. So again, check the nutrition facts and the ingredients to double check on the real story. Sometimes the honey that's listed in the label or the name of the cereal may be an ingredient that's very, very low on the list. Natural sugars from ingredients like dried fruits are certainly better than added sugars, but we still want to consume them in moderation. Dried fruits do have their place in our overall diet, but it's a concentrated source of sugar and it doesn't have the water. So what I often recommend is adding your own fresh fruits to your cereal. That can be adding a banana, adding some berries. You can have fresh berries, you can have frozen berries. You can add your own raisins or whatever you want to add. This way you control how much of the sugar content is in there and still enjoy that natural sweetness. So let me dive deeper into the high fiber part now. The high fiber and the whole grain options. So fiber and whole grains are really the foundation of a healthy breakfast cereal. And this is an easy place to get our fiber and whole grains. And a classic option is plain oatmeal. A lot of people tend to forget about this cereal, but oats are a great source of whole grains, fiber, and they can be customized with all kinds of toppings from fruits, nuts, and seeds. And if you want to buy the instant, that's fine. I buy the 10-minute cook oats, but I can still get them cooked in my microwave in under 2.5 minutes or use them for overnight oats without the cooking. Bran cereals are another high fiber option, and they're excellent for digestive health. But again, you want to watch for ones that are low in added sugars. So whole grain flakes made from wheat, barley, or other grains can provide fiber and essential nutrients. And another favorite of mine is muesli, and that's a mix of oats, nuts, seeds, and dry fruit that you can buy in the package. You can also just make it yourself. You can make your own mix of the oats, nuts, seeds, and dried fruit. And this is where you can make your overnight oats. You can mix those oats, nuts, seeds, and dried fruits and then divide them up. I use mason jars. You can divide them up into mason jars, and then the night before or even the morning of, you want to eat it, add the milk or add whatever you would like, the juice. Traditionally, my mom used to use orange juice. I like to use vanilla soy milk for a little bit of flavor. But this is something where it's maybe 30 minutes one time a week, and then the prep when you're right before you want to eat it. Another good choice, but something that I tell people just be careful, is granola. So there are some brands that can be really high in added sugars and fats. And double check the serving size, as the granola can be really high in calories. Granola I tend to reserve for stirring into my yogurt rather than having the granola by itself as a cereal. Now, lastly, I want to cover some quick and nutritious breakfast ideas. Some of these I've already mentioned, but I'll go over them again. So, how can we incorporate cereals into a balanced breakfast? I want to emphasize, not every breakfast needs to be cereals, but how can we incorporate cereals as a breakfast option? Well, a fruit and yogurt parfait. As I mentioned already, adding some high fiber cereal with some yogurt and then adding your own fruit is great. So I add granola that I like, but this could be even just a fiber cereal stirred into your yogurt and adding your own fruit. Don't have to add your own fruit. You can get your own flavored Greek yogurt, but add that extra fiber from a cereal. This one I've mentioned already is overnight oats. So combine the uncooked oats, a milk, or your favorite plant-based alternative. Soy milk is the one that I use and recommend. Chia seeds, flax seeds, nuts, seeds, a little bit of honey or a little bit of maple syrup. You refrigerate those overnight, and then you can add some fruits in the morning. So you can add the fruits the night before as well. Sometimes people like to add the fruits right before they eat it. Another option is a smoothie bowl. So this is where you make a smoothie mix with things like spinach or bananas and protein powder, and then you can pour it into a bowl and top it with whole grain cereal and then some whole berries and nuts. Make your own breakfast bar. This is something I did in the past. It's been quite a while, but this was something where I did a lot of experimenting, making homemade cereal bars with oats and nut butter and honey and dried fruits and chopped nuts. So this is something that can be prepared ahead of time for a grab and go option. This is something where I would make these when I was traveling a lot, where I just was able to have them in my bag on the plane and even at the hotel if I wasn't sure what I was going to be getting there. And then one more, this is something that I didn't mention, but having quinoa. So you can have a warm quinoa cereal. I tell people if I'm making quinoa at dinner, sometimes I'll make a double or triple batch and then have that extra quinoa with milk, or again, a milk alternative, similar to oatmeal, adding some honey, maple syrup, nuts, seeds, peanut butter, fresh fruit, dried fruit. I mean, you can do all kinds of things with this. And this can be similar to the overnight oats, except for the quinoa is already made, and you can just make it however you like. So, going back to the cereal aisle, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Pay attention to labels, recognize the impact of sugar content, and prioritize the high fiber and whole grain options. And this can help you make healthier choices for your breakfast. And I want to just spill a secret. A lot of people know this, but it doesn't have to just be for breakfast. Sometimes if you just want a bowl of cereal for dinner, that's okay. So whether you're starting your day or ending your day, a nutritious meal helps you set that tone. And I really hope that some of the information in today's episode can help you with some tools in dealing with the cereal aisle and making some smart choices, healthier choices to support your health goals. If this resonated with you or you do have more questions for me, I would love to hear from you. You can use the link in the show notes to reach out to me and schedule a 30-minute discovery call. And I want you to stay tuned for the next episode in the Mastering Grocery Store series. This one was part 4. Next week, we'll be addressing that snack food aisle and how to make better snacking choices. All right, everyone, you take care. Have a great week, and bye for now.